Hey guys, so I'm going to be taking you through these lovely one-on-ones Photocard sleeve custom builds. I kind of themed them a little bit based off the music videos and their title songs. So I kind of did the pink version based off their song Energetic, and then I based the blue version or sky based off of their Burn It Up music video. So I was inspired a lot by the colors. But I'm going to take you through how I do the templates, how I made all of these sleeves, the cuts, adding the decorations, but I'm not going to go through all 22. I'll probably just do a little bit, maybe like 3 of the build, the decorations, 3 of like the cutting and all of that stuff because I don't want to make it too long. But at the end, I'm also going to flip through each one of these sleeves and kind of talk about a little bit more about my inspiration and actually building it, and kind of some tips on how I found was the easiest way to actually build these. But yep, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts about the sleeves in the comments down below, and let's get started. So for this part, we're just cutting off 1/4 inch from each end. You can just do it from one side, probably the top, if you want to keep that bottom seal. But I ended up deciding to cut a little bit off of each side, which I'll probably go into and start resealing my own bottom edge. I kind of did it this way just because that's how I did my template, and I wanted to make sure all my measurements are going to stay the same. It only took me about 30 minutes to get all my edges cut, and then sealing from the bottom. Usually you want to let your tool heat up for about 20 minutes before you start using it. I do recommend maybe just putting a colored piece of paper or something else behind your sheet. It just makes it easier to kind of see, because I had to keep angling my head due to some glaring. But to get the seal done for the bottom of all of the sleeves, I did roughly around 26 to 30 sleeves. And it took me about 17 minutes just to get the bottom done. That does not include giving it the 20 minutes to heat up. Okay, and now we're going to start cutting. So we're making the cut line for the bottom piece, which is where the album sleeve goes, and then we're doing a little smaller cut to where the photo card and the decoration piece are going to go. I use the same piece of cardstock over and over again, just because then I don't end up marking the lines. I just follow the already cut groove that the cut tool makes. Make sure you use a good thick piece of paper though. I do recommend cardstock, just because if it's too thin, if it's like a normal printer piece of paper, it will just fry its way through. And then just make sure you change your cardstock paper out every once in a while, because after you go over the grooves enough time, it does start to cut and tear, and it will just end up sealing its way to the other side. Paper is basically just there to make sure you don't end up sealing the front and the back of the sleeves together. So now we're going to start doing another seal line now that we're done cutting. And it's basically going to make the bottom edge where the large cover cards are going to go into, as well as, we'll basically just make that cover card section. To make the cut lines for all of the cards, it took me about an hour. And to make these 2 seal lines, basically to make the border for the cover card, it took about another hour to get the whole 30 sleeves done. I usually also recommend just making a mark. You'll notice I'll put a mark on my ruler. It's just so I don't have to keep finding the spot. It's just easier to recognize the big blue line and go from there. And I like to have my mark spot be where the cut is. When I write my measurements down on my templates or anything like a piece of paper, I make sure to note where I'm coming from. Am I going from the edge of the sleeve, or am I going from a cut line? Make sure you do give a little bit of pressure though when you go over, because you want to make sure you're sealing through, because these sleeves are pretty thick. So you want to make sure it's sealing over to the other side. Sometimes I'll go over it once really quickly just to kind of get the grooves, and then the second time the tool will usually follow those grooves pretty perfectly, and that's when I'll put in a little bit more pressure. Make sure you do erase those lines, those little marker spots, because if you leave them when you go over, it will melt the color into the plastic. So now we're doing our little decoration pieces. I like to use blue tape to kind of mark where these 2v1 things. Sorry, it's so far off to the side. Kind of kept hitting the camera, kept moving it. But I just make my markers so I know where I need to seal, so I can see how much space I have to really work with. Blue tape makes it easier than using the marker. I know I'll show both ways. So I used the marker for a bit, and then I also used the blue tape. I did end up counting how many sleeves would, like how many sequins would fit, just so then as I go on, I make notes, how many sequences can fit in which direction, how many can I fit with, you know, I draw out the different layouts. So as I go and designed these, I already knew how everything could fit. And it's just kind of a nice fun learning process, and I make sure all my sequins are facing the same way, just because I think it looks more uniform and it just looks a little bit cleaner and nicer. And I don't really measure anything out either. I kind of just wing it, so sometimes some of these areas have a little bit more space than others. Make sure when you do these paper ones as well that you get it, you don't want to make it too tight. I did double side them, so they do need a little bit extra space just because of how thick they are compared to the sequins. Just don't make it too tight or else you'll start to fry the paper a little bit. And then I did like kind of making these pocket pieces already before I sealed at the top instead of doing it one at a time. So then you can kind of start to see how many can fit, and you can start to seal as you go. And then it's also easier if I want to change the color combination up or anything like that, I can do that as well. And we did one that I liked the recording of the energetic style. So these ones are all burn it up. I just love these sequins more. I kind of wish that the energetic ones, those pastels, were a little bit more vibrant, more glossy like these ones are, these metallic style sequins. But doing it this way as well, doing the top and the bottom all at the same time with the diagonals, is a lot easier, because then you can always adjust as you go for that center piece. As I do get each sequence, each one of these colors, I have it in about 2 or 3 different sizes, usually about a 6mm, an 8mm, and a 10mm. So the red one is a 10, and then usually the rest of these were roughly around an 8, and then my itty bitty ones are about a 6. But mainly for this set I did a 6, was my main sequin size. But having it the different colors, you can adapt as you go. So say I have the 10s on the side, they take up more space, and as I move in I notice I have less space, so I can move down to the 8 and then down to a 6 for the center. I just think it's nice having, the sequins aren't too expensive either, so getting it in the different colors for the different sizes is a lot nicer. It's like this clear one. That one is in 8. And then I have the little gold ones are 6s. So this one I'm using all 3 sizes, 8, 10, and 6. I really, really like the diagonal design too. But to do all of the pages for the designs, plus I messed up on probably 4 sleeves, and it took me about 7 hours to end up making all of these designs. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the kind of how-to on put these sleeves together, but I am going to flip through all of them now. So yeah, I have them in order of age from oldest to youngest. So I have these double-sided because the photo cards and like the backs of these cards are double-sided. So sorry about some of the glare. It's the hard part with the shiny sleeves. But since it's double-sided, I did just put it in English, not English, but the normal just letters style, because their name doesn't appear as much on the back side. But I loved it because I have everything double-sided. So like the 2B1 is double-sided, and so is their names. And so the blues, the sky style is more of our burn it up colors. So I used a lot of inspiration from the music video. So I have these nice reds, you know, because fire's like your reds, your oranges, and blues. And of course, blue's the kind of color. And then I did some blacks because their music video was in black and white. And then for the energetic, I was more inspired with pastel colors. So I found these nice sequins. I haven't worked with them before. They were so annoying because they just stuck to me. They did not want to behave. But I really like the pastel colors. And these ones were really nice. So it's a mixture of what they call metallic sequins and hologram sequins. But I haven't used this company. These pastel ones are not from the company I usually use. So it was kind of like a first time experiment. But I think it came out nice. The hard part was trying to figure out patterns and color combinations that I hadn't used before. So by the time I got to like the last, it was pretty hard because I always pre-plan the layout and then I will like play it all together, but that ends up changing quite a bit based on, you know, how it actually fits with the ceiling lines because it gives more spaces needed than I actually expected. So sometimes when I had these, I would write notes. So that's a big tip, especially when you're doing a lot of these. I write notes. So I was like, I can fit X amount of sequences distanced this way. I can fit X amount of lines this way with these combination things. So it's like when I went to do it again, I already had more experience than I did before. And I already knew how many sequins I could fit. And it just made it easier. And then I don't have anything for Daniel's. So these, for their names, I went between two combinations. I have the 101 font, as I call it. So that's what I used a lot for the 2B1s and the 1 times 1 equals 1 piece that they have going on. And then these I just copy and pasted, so no special font with those. But for the ones, these are I stole it from the music video, the Burn It Up music video, when they zoom in on them and they have that burning thing. So I just put it in black and white, so I wouldn't have any color, you know, distracting. And then, so I did it back and forth between some, like the ones that I really liked their name written in like the Burn It Up style. I kept those, and then the ones that I didn't, I left in the actual 101 font. I ended up making basically almost the entire alphabet, so if I had to write anything, spell their names myself, I could do that. It took quite a bit of time. It took me probably 1 day just to make the font. But I think it came out really, really nice. I really like how everything turned out. Learned a lot. But yeah, I've been asked a lot if I'm going to actually sell these sleeves because I know it's very time consuming and the materials to make it can get pretty expensive because you need like the fuse tool. I don't know if you can use another kind of tool to do this. You might be able to, but that's the only tool I know about. But I've been thinking about it, just making these and selling them, or like making them more custom to like, if you to whoever wants. So instead of like, if you don't like this color combination, you can kind of put whatever you want in here. But I don't know, it's just been thoughts. It's just putting it all together. I don't know, I might just do like maybe a small batch and see how it sells and decide from there. Some of these, like, it's like I made quite a few extras. How many did I make? I ended up making like 30 sleeves, and I only have one left because I messed up with the decoration pieces. I kind of messed up a couple times. But it was fun to make. It really flexed my creative brain because I really had to think about it. It was a difficult one. But I do love some of these. Like, it's like I kind of wish I did this a little bit more, these little mini pocket things. But overall, I really like how it all turned out. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below, what you like, what you don't like. I'm not doing anything special because I know each one came with like a group card. So I'm just going to put that in a normal 9-card sleeve. And then, you know, if their next one ends up having something like this, I'll just put their group cards in the same 9-card sleeve because there'll be all those extra spaces. But I really liked it. It all ended up fitting and coming together really nicely. They just all look so pretty. But, yep, some other tips like usual. I usually let the heat tool heat up for about 20 minutes. You really want to give it the time, especially with these thicker sleeves. And then you want to make sure you give it some good pressure because you want to make sure you can feel what you can on the top. Like, you'll feel like kind of like this. I don't know how to really describe it. You can kind of feel the little grooves. And you want to make sure you can kind of feel that, if not feel it completely on the other side, because that means that it ended up melting through to the other side, so you're going to get a really good seal. So sometimes I'll go over it like twice. I'll go over it once, trying to get the line, and then the tool will follow it pretty nice, and then I'll just kind of go over it again with maybe a little bit more pressure, so I'll do it really nice, and then once more with a little bit of pressure. But yeah, I just think they came out so nice. I loved it. I love doing things like this because I don't get to really be creative at all at my job. I just talk on the phones all day. So I really love being able to do fun and creative things like this. I love it. I can't stop looking. But that's it. That's how you make and what they end up looking like for the 101's 2B1 albums Photocard sleeves. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful for you. Let me know your thoughts, comments, anything you want in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And until the next video. Bye, guys.